Shabbat Shalom. Okay.
One last time to give everybody a chance to get settled. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I have good news and bad news. The good news is that almost everyone that walked in today came say, we came to say goodbye to you. The bad news, so that's good. I'm really, I have to say, I am so moved, not only by your presence here, by those at home, the hundreds, literally hundreds of emails and texts that I received this week, wishing me a great summer. So that's the good news. The bad news, I will be here next Friday. Not going away just yet, leaving next Saturday night. Next Friday we have a dinner in honor of Independence Day, July 4th. We hope that you come to the dinner. We hope you come. And I'm expecting to see all of you plus others to come and say goodbye next week. But we can start practicing at least the word, although it's not the word. The word is not shalom. The word is lehitraot, means we shall see you. There's only one thing I know about this mini sabbatical of mine, the 7 weeks I won't be here. The only thing that I don't know a lot about it, the only thing I know is that it's going to end up so fast. It's going to be over before you know it. I know I'll miss you. I hope you'll miss me. And I know one other thing, God willing, I'll be back. So, we are going to start not by practicing the word lehitraot, which means see you, but practicing the word shalom, but not in the sense of goodbye or hello, but in the sense of peace. We'll talk about it later. Today is a day where so many rabbis were talking with each other. We were talking and they basically say, why bother? Why gather? And the answer is That's exactly why. Because if we don't gather, if we don't come together, if we don't remind ourselves of all the good, if we don't remind ourselves of all the hope, if we don't remind ourselves of all the good things, the gratitude, the light, and the love that exists in this world, then really, why bother? And so today we're going to gather here together. We're going to lift each other's spirit, and we'll start doing so by turning to someone next to you, whether you know them or not, and wishing them Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Today we have with us Iran, and we have Juan. Juan has been with us on Beach Shabbat, and if you were wondering where I got this from, this was a present from him. And I'm in love with my present, and we're going to use it now as we sing together, Ele Hamda Libi. Ele Hamda Libi.
Ele Hamda Libi.
Hamda Libi, Ele Hamda Libi,
Ele Hamda.
Ele Hamda Libi, Hosanna. There's days that you have to force yourself to sing and to smile and to dance because the alternative is not great. But even when you're happy, and even when you're joyful, and even when you're appreciative of Shabbat, it doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge the ois. You just have to put them aside for a little bit. It's important to be able to build these boundaries, to build these walls of protection for our souls and our hearts. Shabbat is that kind of wall that blocks us in time, allows us to regain the energy that we need to continue what will be a long war. One battle might have been lost, but the war is going to go on. Things will change one day, and we need that energy to work for that. And so this is why you came here tonight, to get some of that energy. But first we'll acknowledge joy. So take a deep breath. Oh, it's so releasing. Try that again. Oh, yeah. Woo. So good. And now let's focus on joy, because there are a lot of joyful moments. Our Cantor's parents are celebrating their anniversary today. Lori and Bob, Mazel Tov. How many years is it? 49! My friends, next year, this week, we're renewing their vows. Be here. It's going to be so nice. 49. Big, very nice. Susan is at home watching us. Hi, Susan! And she's feeling better, and I know that, and so it's good to see you. We have more simchas. Share with us some simcha. Jean Lushkin is here. She hasn't been here in a while. she fell, she got up, she got injured, she got this, she's that, she's back, she's here. We're happy. Good to see you. Yes, Ben. 53 years. That's Susan that I was mentioning and Ben together 53 years. And she still doesn't trust him. She looks at the camera when she's away from home. Elaine.
Birthday.
82nd birthday. Woo! In Israel, she's only 28 years old. Israel Alvarez, birthday yesterday. Are we sharing the age? Reverse high. 18 in Israel. 18 in Israel. Very, very nice. We're so happy to see you. Julia just came back from Birthright. All of those that help Birthright and support Birthright, you want to know where your money goes? Ask Julia, and she'll tell you. She just came back. If she falls asleep in the service, it's not because we're bad. She just didn't sleep at all when she was at Birthright. You don't get any sleep. We're happy. And yes, Shar.
64 years.
Of marriage to each other? Wow, that's amazing. Heather is here also. Heather is studying veterinary school in Pomona, I think, right? Pomona. I got that. And yeah, very nice after many years. And we have another handsome young guy here, Neil, for the first time is here. This is so good to have you with your parents. We're so happy that you're here. Any more simchas that you'd like to share with us, please? Your grandson's first time at Temple. Very nice. What's his name? Cameron. Welcome, Cameron. Sleep well. That's good. Cameron's doing what many other people wish they could, but he's the only one.
I know. You need a break.
Any more simchas? More? Yes, Mickey. 65 years. Next week. He just wants to that. That's pretty remarkable. That's pretty remarkable. Yes, Carol. Carol is about to have her first great-grandchild. Very nice. And you're not the only one, because on Saturday, Jean, you're waiting for your eighth great-grandchildren on Saturday is going to be induced and come to the world. Very nice. Okay, my friends, a lot of blessings. And when you're overwhelmed with all the goodness that God has bestowed upon us, we return that favor by saying, thank you, Adonai. But not only saying it, saying, thank you, Adonai. Thank you for entrusting us with life. Thank you for sustaining us. Thank you for giving us this place where we can worship together, strengthen each other, elevate each other. If you can, and only if your bodies allow you, if not, remain seated. But if you can, please rise for the Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Give a squeeze to the person next to you. Please find someone you don't know around you and welcome them. Introduce yourself to them. Make sure that you say hello. Lori?
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem, Alanei
Bochem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei אעשה איתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי העליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש For those of you who did not have the pleasure yet, this is Eden and this is Joe. They happen to be Rabbi Feivel's and Kentor's, Abby's children. And this is their grandparents, Abby's parents, Bob and Laurie. And I said to Eden and to Joe before that the most important day in your lives is the day they got married. Because if they didn't get married, you wouldn't be here. You have to wait a good 30-some years for something good to happen. Remember that. I'll talk about that later. Sometimes you work really hard and only 30-some, 40 years later you see the fruit of your love. And here are the fruit and here's the light. Let's say the blessing for the light that you are bringing into our congregation. Let's say it together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. And please grab the Kiddush cup with you, and we'll ask you to come here to the front. We are on page 5 for our Kiddush. Kiddush means to put something separate, to make something holy. Come over here. And every evening, usually, for those of you who have been to other temples, you know that the Kiddush happens at the end of the service. We like to do it at the beginning because the Kiddush is a reminder to set the time of Shabbat aside, to try and make Shabbat different, to not treat Shabbat as every other day, to do something special on Shabbat that reminds you today is a special day. And why wait for the end of the service? We should do it at the beginning because we are now, as Shabbat enters, we have that opportunity to promise to ourselves this Shabbat, the next 25 hours, we're going to do something different. I don't know what that different thing is for you. If it's connecting or disconnecting, if it's reading or not reading, if it's walking or not walking, if it's being alone or not being alone, as long as it's different than what you did yesterday and the day before, and they just make that space for yourself. That was a long introduction for Kiddush. It gave you a chance to practice. Are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav ve'atzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahav u'ratzon hikilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereishit ki hu yom tehila b'mikra'ei kodesh zecher yitziat mitzrayim ki banu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodesh be'ahava u'ratzon ilchatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim and Mazel Tov. Thank you guys for being here. And may we have, it's grape juice. You can have some. Thank you.
Continue on page 12.
Hallelujah. השמיים ותגל הארץ. The bottom of page 13, bottom of 13. הים ומלואו ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירעם הים ומלואו.
Your voices.
Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye.
ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירעם
הים ומלואו ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירעם הים ומלואו. Okay, let's hear you guys. Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye 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 bye. Yabba bye bye. It's the words are yabba bye. Bye bye, yabba bye 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 bye. Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye. Yabba bye 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 bye. Yabba bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bye, yabba bye 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 bye. So before this morning's Supreme Court ruling, I actually wanted to start the service with a glimmer of hope. And there still is. Because this week something else happened, and while many will say it's too little, too late, not significant enough, the first most significant, legislation about gun control and trying to put this madness into some kind of framework was passed. Now, whether you agree or not agree, and there's always going to be people who agree or not agree, it's too little, it's too much, it doesn't matter. The fact that something that that it's possible for people from opposite sides to find that middle ground, it's a quality that we have come to believe in this country and in many others that is impossible. And so let's just use this, in Israel, even here. Well, not in Florida, but you all remember when you lived up north? You all remember? And there was that first sign of spring. The first sign. It's still cold. Most of the trees don't have a leaf, but you walked somewhere in the street of Cleveland or Detroit or New York or wherever, Boston, wherever you were, and there was one flower, there was something, there was tiny, that green something. When I studied in New York, it was the first time that you saw a student with a tank top. It's 45 degrees, but somebody's in Washington Square like this. There's that first sign, and you still know it's winter, and you still know it might still snow next week, and you still know it's going to be cold for a while, but you know it's there, it's in the air. And so that's how I wanted to start today, acknowledging that moment, even if it were for a microsecond of relief, of light. Remember, the biggest fires in the world start with one spark. One little spark can start the biggest fire. So let's hope that what we saw this week in this idea of being able to come together is a spark that will light bigger fires of change, bigger light fires of working together, bigger fires of cooperation and love. And that's why we'll dedicate page 14, the bottom of page 14, this idea of an or zarua, of a light that is sown to those who do what is right. Or zarua tzadi ulishreile simcha or zarua tzadi זרו על הצדיק ולשמרם
Your voices. Oy zaru
על הצדיק ולשרי לב שמחה. Let's light that spark. אוי זרו על הצדיק ולשרי לב שמחה. You know, synagogues are not a place where you typically expect to find people in their 20s, and so when we have a combination of about 4 of them, how could I not invite all of them to come to the doors, to open the doors for Lecha Dodi? It's our little way to say to you how glad we are. You know, synagogues are one of the last places in the world where you can have an intergenerational experience. Where a baby, how old? 3? 8 weeks, kids still elementary school, students in their 20s and professionals, youngsters in their 70s, and wise people above their 80s can be together, right? This is nice. So if you're between the ages of 20 and 30, please join me at the doors for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור, שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיענו אל המיוחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, אדוני אחד שמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת. Let's all rise. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Stay standing. Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Stay standing. We remain standing This is our summer practice now. Straight from opening the doors of Shabbat to opening the doors of our ark and reminding ourselves what is at the essence, what is at the heart of who we are, of what we believe in, the Torah that is in front of us, and the presence of God that is within us.
Ya la la.
Page 28. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
Baruch hu et Adonai.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam va'ed.
Le'olam, 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 le'olam.
Please be seated as we remind ourselves that whenever it is dark, it is soon going to be light again. And whenever it is light, even if that light shines for 50 years, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it won't be dark again. And that is life cycle. And that is how we move from darkness to light and from light to darkness. That is how the world acts. And we are no different. And so if there is some comfort in that knowledge that after light comes darkness and after darkness comes light, join me in the bottom of page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being and skillfully opens the gates and thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגי יומם ולילה, ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. And let us remind us that it is upon each and every one of us to do what we can to maximize our potential, to use the gifts that we have. And each of us has different gifts, but whatever that gift is, to use that gift to make a difference. Some of us have the gift of wealth, and we can make endless donations to organizations that support our values. Other of us are mavens, and they know how to rally people, and they know how to organize, and they know how to that. Others are just good listeners, and they could be there to hold your hand at times of despair and when you need that strengthening. Each and every one of us has a gift. You might not be a community organizer. You might not be a millionaire that can change the world. You might not have the right to vote, but you have a gift, and it's upon you to think and to wonder, what is my gift and how can I utilize my gift to make that difference in this world, in this community that I want to see. And so let's remind ourselves that by saying the Ve'ahavta on page 36, but changing it to first person. I shall love Adonai my God with all my heart, with all my soul, and with all my might. I will take to heart these instructions with which you charge me this day. I will impress them upon my children and grandchildren. I will recite them when I stay at home and when I am away, when I lie down and when I get up. I will bind them as a sign on my hand and let them serve as a symbol on my forehead. I will inscribe them on the doorpost of my house and on my gates. Thus I shall remember to observe all your commandments and to be holy to my God. You are Adonai my God, who brought me out of the land of Egypt to be my God. You are Adonai my God. And we remind ourselves that standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe that we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, and that there's a better place, a promised land, and that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. And there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi kamocha, page 40.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Yalalai, yalalai,
ונאמר כי בדרני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 43. Simple words. But many times it's hard to find space for the one thing that is so simple, because it actually isn't simple at all. Let there be love means that we have to make space, that we have to look someone in the eye, that we have to see that they are made from God's image just like us. And this prayer reminds me there's enough room for all of us, and we have to believe that by looking in each other's eyes and seeing the heart, we truly can find that love. So when we sing this tonight, take a deep breath and make some space, because we all need a little more. This simple thing called love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, let there be love.
Let there be love
And understanding among us.
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. I want to direct your attention to page 44. The Veshamru, the last word in this prayer, this entire prayer of Veshamru builds up towards that word. And what does it say? It basically says, Bayom HaShevi, on the seventh day, Shabbat, God ceased working, ceased creation, Va'inafash. Now, inafash, if you look at the translation on page 44, means refreshed. Linfosh, when you say I'm going on vacation, you go on a nofesh. But what is a nofesh, a inafash? What other word do you see in there? Nefesh. Nefesh. And nefesh means your soul. This is not just a vacation to relax your body and your aching muscles or your troubled mind. This is a season of creation to renew your soul. That is what Shabbat is. That is what a sabbatical is. That is what we all need. We all get it once a week. Sometimes we need a little bit more than that. But the idea is to renew your soul, not just to rest, not just to go have fun, not just to go see another place, but to truly renew your soul. And so we all get this gift of Shabbat to renew our soul. So when we get to this last word today, Shabbat Va'inafash, my blessing, my hope for you, my friends, is that we all find a way to renew ourselves, to renew hope, to renew the light, to renew friendships, to renew our belief, our faith, whatever it is that you specific need to renew. Shabbat is that gift to do that. So let's build ourselves up towards that Va'inafash.
Veshamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam v'ridotam. Veshamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam v'ridotam. Israel, oti leolam, oti leolam, veshamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam v'ridotam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam v'ridotam. Uvayom hashvi
Shabbat, ready? Va'inafash. Shabbat Va'inafash.
Shabbat Va'inafash Veshamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam v'ridotam.
We're on page 46, preparing ourselves for our intimate, personal, and communal prayer known as the tefillah. faced east to Jerusalem. Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha. Our traditional prayer continues on the right side of our Siddur from page 48 to 60. It continues also with alternative readings on the left side of the Siddur from page 49 to 63. But maybe it's best continued by closing your Siddur altogether and just listening to the most important words, the words of your soul and the words of your heart. We're facing east to Jerusalem. Yerushalayim means you shall see peace. As you're praying, maybe let's try and find that place that brings peace to our heart, that allows us to spread peace in the world. Let's take a few moments for a silent prayer. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me.
Shalom Rab, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam.
We're ready to pray for healing. I invite you all to stand and to come under our healing talit. Come under our healing talit. There's plenty of space. It's like a candy jar that never stops giving. You always think there's no more space, but you could put somebody more in there. And if you're not under the healing talit, please come close. And if you wish and you feel that it's okay with the person in front of you, put your hand on their shoulder. Just to remind everybody that they're not alone, that we all have the power of healing just with a simple human gesture of reaching out to a person in front of us. I'm looking at the camera. I know that there are many at home that can't be here with us today. I'm dedicating this to you. We hope that you feel the love and the support of your community even when you cannot be here with us. We know that you are frightened, that sometimes you feel alone, that next week you're waiting for a procedure or results of a test, or you're going to find out something about the path that you need to continue to go in order to reach full healing. And we are here with you praying for your health of body, of mind, of soul, and spirit. And I ask everybody to please think of their loved ones that they're praying for. Whisper their names. If they're standing next to you, just give them a hug and squeeze their shoulder. Let's pray together. God, wherever we are, here or alone at home, we know that you are with us. And we pray, God, that you hear our prayers for healing because you are a God who hearkens to prayer. Baruch atah Adonai shomat tefillah. Amen. Give a hug to someone next to you. They could use it. Don't be shy. And have a seat, please. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So a few weeks ago, when the draft of the decision of the Supreme Court this morning was leaked, I spoke about what is really at stake here. That it is really not a debate about whether abortions are allowed or not allowed. People can have very strong and very theologically based opinions about when life begins. It's not a really good time for jokes, but you can't talk about the priest, the pastor, and the rabbi. You must know this one. Who argue when does life begin, and the Catholic priest says it begins at conception. The moment the sperm meets the egg, and the Protestant pastor says, no, it begins the moment the baby is born, and then you dip him in the water, and that's life begins. And the rabbi says, no, it begins when the last child lives for college and the dog dies. So we can have very, very different theological responses to when does life begin, but the question at stake is not about when. And by the way, and it's important to say, the Supreme Court did not say that abortions are illegal. The Supreme Court better said, who has the right to make the decision? The Supreme Court basically threw this back to the states, and we know now each state is going to have to make that decision. And each state according to the people that are representative. So you might think that in a perfect democracy, the voice of the people will vote into the state legislators, those who will make that decision. We all know that democracy is not perfect, and that there are a lot of people who will pay the price, and it's usually going to be young, uneducated, poor women who are going to pay the price, and together with them, many, many others. So that is not that's not the issue at stake. The issue at stake is who has the decision, and I think I was very clear a few weeks ago that the kind of Judaism that I represent, that you belong to a Reform, non-denominational temple, is the kind of Judaism that believes in the right of woman to make an own choice. And again, even that comes with all kinds of different understandings and restrictions, but at the essence, it is not in the hand of mostly male state representatives to make that decision for other people. And so that's clear on that. Whether or not Judaism believes in the right to have an abortion, I'm not going to speak about that tonight, but I invite you all, even if you're not used to doing that, to join me tomorrow at 9:30 for Torah study. Tomorrow the topic will be, we're going to look at about 20 different texts that show all kinds, you'll be very surprised, all kinds of spectrums of ideas, Jewish ideas from 2,500 years ago and from 100 years ago, and even recent, of what is our approach as Jews to the issue of life and abortion. And so I invite you, even if you're not a regular Torah study, if you want to learn more about what Judaism has to say about that, what I want to talk today about, that's the famous joke of the rabbi. He says, and this is not what I wanted to say, and now let me tell you what I want to tell you. That's just a little warm-up. That was the appetizer. But really shortly, the connection to this Torah portion, because it's a beautiful Torah portion, and originally we were supposed to talk about the 12 spies and the land of Israel. And by the way, another topic that we'll leave aside right now, that the government in Israel fell this week and all that. But there's a famous story in this week's Torah portion that I think we can learn a lot from. 12 spies are sent to Israel, to the land of Canaan, right, to check out the land before they're supposed to go. And I think that most of us know the story, but just in case you were absent that day in Hebrew school because you had that other thing that you couldn't go, called soccer. In general, I recommend when you come to temple, unless you're a doctor, leave your phone in the car. It just makes it saves you that kind of so anyways, move forward. 12 spies are sent, and they come back, and they see a lot of things. They see an Eretz Zavat Chalav. They see a land flowing with milk and honey, but they also see giants and fortified cities, and basically 10 of them come back and report that this land is dangerous. We cannot go there. There's no way we should go do a U-turn and cut our losses and go back to Egypt, where the hummus is a bit better, I hear, than in Israel. And the falafel, definitely. But that's the 10 spies. Those are the 10. By the way, Minyan, the idea of 10 people praying together, comes from this idea. When 10 people speak out, it's loud and clear and it's strong. And that's where we get Minyan, actually, from the 10 bad guys, supposedly. But there's only 2. Kalev ben Yefuneh, Kalev son of Yefuneh, and Yehoshua bin Nun are the only 2 spies who see the exact same thing, but come back and tell them, no, we can do it. We are going to make it. We are going to prevail. God is with us. And you all know that because of this story, that is when God decides to punish the Jewish people and basically say, we need this entire generation of slaves that doesn't believe in their ability to succeed to die off in the desert, and their children. They're the ones who are going to succeed. And the only 2 who are going to go into the land with those children are Kalev ben Yefuneh and Yehoshua bin Nun, who is going to succeed Moses. What can we learn from this, my friends? I think it's very clear this week. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to lift up their arms and going to say, this country, this world is going into a direction that we're heading to doom. We're heading to hell. We're on the cliff. We're stepping back. Let's turn back. Go back to England. That's maybe better. Or to New Zealand, right? Let's go to Canada. I've been seeing that a lot on Facebook on that. Like, let's leave. This is the time let's leave now. Let's cut our losses. I want to believe that we're 2% of the American population. Jews are 2%, 2.5%. Maybe we're those 2% spies that come back and say, hey, it's difficult. It's giants. There are fortified lands. It is going to be the most difficult thing that we ever have to do. And guess what? It's not going to be you. I'm looking around here, and except for maybe those 2 and some of our 20 years old, most of us will not be here 40 years from now. I'll be 93. Most of us will not be here. So it's not about us, but it's about what will we do now. Are we going to be those 2 spies that are going to hold on to that courage, to hold on to the faith, to hold on to belief that one day we will get to that promised land? People waited, women waited in this country hundreds of years before they can vote. And then another, few decades until the right to decide what they can do with their pregnancy was theirs. And now that right was taken away and given back to the states. It might take another 40 or 50 years, but we will get there eventually. And so what you have to ask yourself right now is not what country am I immigrating to, is what can I do today? Maybe the grandchild that you're sending to law school, and that you're maybe, squeezing your level of comfort that you can help that grandchild go to law school. Maybe that grandchild will be in 40 years from now the Supreme Court justice that will reverse this again. Maybe that little baby that you are deciding to put money aside to send to a Jewish day school because they're going to get an amazing education and great values is going to grow up to be that senator that eventually will be able to rally again around him or around her bipartisan support to make a difference. You, my friends, are not going to get to the promised land. Probably not. Think how hard it was for the people of Israel to hear that. But there were 2 that kept the faith alive. We are going to be that too. the Jewish community, our temple, each one of you is going to be the one who continues to remind each other that there is a promised land and we will get to that promised land. And while we might have to wander now again in a desert of sadness and despair and a desert that I don't even have words to describe, we will get to that promised land. And so let that be our lesson this week. And let us take to heart the words of Rabbi Tarfon. I shared it on Facebook. For those who don't have Facebook and couldn't read, I'll share it with you here as well. Rabbi Tarfon, 2,000 years ago, in maybe what was a greater time of despair than we are now. While we think that maybe this is the darkest time in history, believe me, and you all know that, there were darker times in history. Rabbi Tarfon said, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. It is not upon you to finish the work. You, my friends, are not going to probably be able to right now overturn this decision. But you can't dismiss yourself for doing what you can do to build the next generation of free kids that will grow up to be those who walk into the promised land. And so let's not despair. Let's remember there's a promised land. Let's commit each and every one of us to do what I said before. Use your own personal gift, whatever you can, to make sure that at the end of another long period in the desert, we will get to that promised land. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. You do not have to finish the job, but you are not free to dismiss yourself from doing your role.
Lo alecha hamlacha
ligmor. Lo alecha ligmor. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. Lo alecha ligmor. Velo ata ben chorin lehipater mimena. Velo ata ben chorin. Velo ata ben chorin lehipater mimena. Velo ata ben chorin. Page 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Many of you have gathered here today, not just to support each other, to uplift each other, but also to find this space where you can come closer to those that are with you only in your heart and memory, those who you carry as a blessing. And so now it is time to acknowledge their presence here with us as a congregation. We first mentioned the names of those who passed away in the recent 30 days. We are together here with Diane Mithenthal, our friend who lost her sister, Joanne Hamburger. If you're Diane, we invite you to stand so that we could share your sorrow and help you carry this burden of sadness. We also remember, and she's here with us as well, Donna Yaffe lost her brother, Ted Hortsky. And Donna, we are honored that we can be here with you as well. And we remember Eleanor Stone, mother of Ron Stone, and mother-in-law of Mary. We also remember those who died at this time in seasons past. It's also the anniversary, the yahrzeit, the year of the Surfside building collapse just this week, in which we have members who have lost family members there. And I will invite you to add their names at the end of our list. If you're a mourner as well and the name of your loved one is read, please do rise as well if you wish. We remember Evelyn Allen Levy, Harvey Bard, Kate Berry Spring, Robin Dana Cohen, Leslie Cohen, Elaine Ellens, Ida Elowich, Albert Engelscher, Davira Fisher, Beatrice Fried, George Getz, Alan Glantz, Abraham Hassan, Jack Herman, Edward James, Murray Khan, Aaron Kirschenbaum, Hirsch Kanster, Alvin Kur, Carrie Levine, Sylvia Levine, Jay Levitz, Viola Levy, Maurice Ludwin, Samuel Luthner, Ricardo Meskengeiser, I apologize, I hope I said that right, Doris L. Mortman, Norman Perel, Benjamin Rabinovich, Charles Rosen, Laird Rosen, Rose Rudolph, Leonard Schwartz, Fabian Safer, Phyllis R. Shapiro, Samuel Shear, Morris Waldman, Herbert Wayne, Muriel Weingrow, Jean Wolpert, Abraham Zager, and Morris Zudik. I apologize again if I mispronounce the name. I invite you to say the name again. I invite you to rise and add names if you wish. And as a community, we all rise to show our support and love of those who are bereaved and mourning. Kaddish is on page 294. יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך רעותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה וישמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May the one who creates harmony and high help us create a harmony in this world. Help us bring people together. Help us find light in everything. May God bless us and protect us. May God guard us, our going and our coming. May God shine his countenance upon us and be gracious to us. May God bless us with peace, to which we say amen. And we conclude with our motto. Let's go out there and bring joy into the world. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha. Worship God with joy and come in front of this world. Bring to this world a sense of joy and hope. Ivdu. Ivdu, es Adonai besimcha. Ivdu, es Adonai besimcha. Thank you to our amazing musicians. Bo'u lefanav, bo'u lefanav. Birna